Hey guys, what's going on? Third Street Reactions here. We're back. I'm Shane.
Zach.
We're back here with the Batman review. And before we touch on that, which we will, and this is a spoiler review, we were talking about the trailers in front of that. You're a fan of the Lighthouse. I haven't seen it. I heard it was really good. I heard it was incredibly dramatic and effective and beautiful. And you personally like it quite a bit, right?
I do like it. It's kind of like The Shining, where it's not something I would watch all the time.
Yeah.
But it left such an impression
that
I probably will watch it again.
Well, yeah. Sometimes you see like a master film, it just like it pulls you in, and you can't even explain why. Yeah.
You're just left with Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe alone on an island on a lighthouse.
Which I do know when people saw this movie, they said before you watch this or after you watch this, if you think Robert Pattinson's great in this, go see The Lighthouse. Go see, which I told you about before. It has the Rover, Robert Pattinson, and he's amazing in that too.
I haven't seen The Rover.
Yeah.
But I have seen Lighthouse.
Yeah.
And he is significantly better in Lighthouse than he is, I guess, in the
Twilight movies. You know, I have a rule. I say I'm not going to shit.
Oh no, I don't really ever. He's Cedric Diggory to me.
Hey, my boy.
Yeah, that's because I didn't.
That made me cry.
When I was married, I've only seen bits and pieces of
the Twilight movies.
The Twilight movies, and so I only saw enough to see him and was it Kristen Stewart?
Yes.
So I only saw bits and pieces enough to know kind of it's a teen heartthrob thing.
Yeah, vampires and they glow or they sparkle. I don't want to hear about sparkles after we talk about this movie. I'll tell you that.
Well, in The Lighthouse, he's completely different.
Yeah.
Than either of those roles, Diggory or Edward. And in this, I think he did a very good job as Bruce Wayne. He definitely portrayed a very different Bruce Wayne than what we're usually given.
I think that was Matt Reeves' goal. And for what it's worth, I didn't think about any other Batman movies when I was watching this. It carved its own niche.
It did.
And I don't want to get into like who's better, what's the best Batman. I need to sit with that for a few years, personally.
Well, between the music and the ambience and everything that it presented, it's a completely different way of storytelling.
It is.
And because you really, when you watch it, the fighting was good whenever he fought somebody.
You feel those hits.
But you didn't. I just felt like it was overshadowed by the rest of the movie.
Well, I mean, and that's a good thing because the fighting I thought was the Nolan trilogy. I still think is what we need to like. All three movies and all those stories, incredible. The Joker, one of the best villains I've ever seen. Okay, Heath Ledger knocked out of the park. You can say what you want about Christian Bale and the voice or whatever. You know, the voice is there. You know, but I still think that's a standard. And obviously, we've taken that standard and grew from it too. Because we have the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, which I think is also great. But this is its own fucking thing. And I thought Robert Pattinson was, like you said, a different kind of Batman. Because he wasn't like the billionaire philanthropist, like a really charismatic guy.
No,
when he was Bruce.
You can tell he's disturbed.
He was sad, he was a weirdo.
Quiet.
Yeah, he was disturbed. He was a weirdo. There's a part you walked out, had to go to the bathroom. But his manner... and I know we saw his manner before, but it did show good shots of his manner. This place is like the guy from Gears of War came in and designed his house. It was like a gothic, weird fucking thing. Yeah, it was really interesting. But I mean, we'll dive into this. But yeah, I thought it was absolutely great, and it didn't feel like 3 hours to me. I could have kept watching it.
It felt like 3 hours to me. That's my biggest complaint about that movie.
Was it long?
Is it felt repetitive by the end of it.
Okay.
And it felt anticlimactic by the end of it.
Okay.
And it felt long. But other than that, I think they got a lot of things right.
Yeah. Okay. I do know some people did say that they thought it was way long too. So it is something I've heard of from people.
If it's going to be that long, it shouldn't feel that long.
Well, obviously, yeah.
So Hateful Eight draws you in and can keep you.
You know what's weird is I really prefer the miniseries now.
Well, now that you've had it.
Well, I think the movie's like, dude, it's long and it doesn't give me all the good stuff that the miniseries gives me. You mentioned the music. Michael Giacchino, who's done Lost, he's done Rogue One, he's done a million video games, he's done, I think he's done Mission Impossible. He composed a great score.
No, it worked really well.
Yeah, and just the way they did the music at the moments of him coming out of the darkness.
His footsteps and things like that.
Yeah. Did you read, what's it called, The Long Halloween?
Yeah.
I didn't, but I know people I've talked to said that, you know, it was kind of reminiscent of that. I know Falcone and Maroni are in it. And I know it was with the Holiday Killer?
They bring in, the Holiday Killer, it ends up being Two-Face.
Okay. Yeah, Yeah, I don't think I knew that. And he was obviously trying to do a callback to like those noir films where the guys.
Well, I guess he's not Two-Face yet at that point, but he might have been. It's been a while since I've read it.
I'm going to jump ahead real quick. Who do you think the guy at the end was in the prison cell?
The Joker.
You think so?
How could you not think it's supposed to be the Joker?
I think it's going to be Joker too, but I mean, some people thought it could be Two-Face because his face looked messed up.
I think that's stupid based off of how he sounded and the things he said.
Because I guess in my head, I still think of Joker as... I mean, obviously, I think of a different performance.
I was hoping it would be Joaquin Phoenix and they would tie that world back in. He'd be an older Joker.
I did see a headline, I didn't read it, where he was asked about tying that in, and he said he was so far into the production of it that when he saw that movie, he goes, "Oh, I guess it could be," but that's not what he's thinking. So I mean, they could force him to do that, but I don't.
I think it would have been better. I think the way that Jay had Joker looking in that cell, he looked very reminiscent of the comics. He had the big slope nose. His hair was standing up and shooting back. He looked like his face was probably scarred into the smile.
Yeah.
And the way he laughed, and he said, "No, don't be sad, smile."
Yeah.
And everything. He's definitely the Joker.
I really liked his callback to kind of those noir films of the 1940s, 50s. Or
I thought, what was his name?
Jeffrey Wright.
Jeffrey Wright. I thought he was great as Gordon.
I thought he was too, it's still hard for me because I think maybe I shouldn't compare. I should just appreciate it. But what's his name now?
Gary Oldman.
Yeah, I think he's so great.
Gary Oldman sank into the role.
Yeah.
And looked the part with the mustache so well with the glasses.
Yeah.
And Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah.
Sinks into it and looks just.
He does. I think he makes it his own. Like the way he. I guess to me, I haven't read a million comics, but the way he goes up to bat for Batman.
Yeah.
It seems like this guy really believes that Batman is here to help.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of that Batman Year One vibe.
There's a great show that we love, The Strain, and we had what's his name, The Bourne. I can't remember what his name is.
Quinlan in The Strain. I don't remember the actor's name though, but he was the mayor.
Rupert Penry Jones is the guy's name. He's also in Black Sails. He plays an important character on there. Mayor Mitchell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have to say, okay, so what do you think of Paul Dano?
He was okay. He's still just Paul Dano to me. He's not an actor that I can say he's not a bad actor. He is good, but he kind of just reminded me of his performance in There Will Be Blood.
Okay.
Where when he's up there on the pulpit and he's preaching to this congregation and he's like getting all lively and screaming and acting that way. I mean, it's very reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
But I like the way they portrayed him as this kind of nobody nerd. Went crazy, and he kind of had all these books and journals, kind of like the killer in Seven.
Yeah.
And he was fine. I don't think he was bad. I thought the way they chose to portray the Riddler was a little. I mean, it's not any more over the top than a guy with a bowler cap and Riddler fucking question marks all over his suit.
Yeah.
But like the S&M mask, which I guess it's a Cold War gear, like whatever.
Yeah.
They describe
people like, go to the Army surplus store.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, I know where I'm going after this.
Yeah. So it's kind of like when it resembles kind of an S&M feel.
Yeah.
It really reminds me of the comedian's mask that he wears when he's younger,
in
middle age,
in the flashbacks,
in the old comics, in the
okay.
So, but it reminds you of that, and me anyway. And
to me, it's like the Joker still reigns supreme. At least Heath Ledger's and Joaquin Phoenix's. Yeah. And then to me, the second is Riddler in terms of Batman villains, like in terms of what I've seen on screen. I know, like
in terms of how much of a threat he poses.
I think in terms of the performance electrifying me, and I know I'm pulling from not a lot of things because all the old ones. Like I know they have a place in people's hearts, but I think we could all agree that they have a different tone.
Well, they're built on you're somewhere between Adam West and Tim Burton with those.
Yeah.
And then Nolan gave us his trilogy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like the Mission Impossible meets Batman meets
this kind of stuff. And it's like, okay.
And then we have this, which is more Arkham games.
Yeah.
In terms of the feel of the world.
Yeah.
Probably the most entertaining character on screen was the Penguin.
Yeah, what do you think about him? Because I liked him, and I thought Colin Farrell got lost in it.
I think he did a good job.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why you have to hire actors anymore to portray someone they don't look like themselves at all.
Yeah.
Like normally, a lot of time, traditionally, you pick someone that looked like a certain character or resembled it enough.
Yeah. Well, especially like that's what Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was about too.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I like that tradition. I know you and I, we kind of carry on that. We like, and maybe we shouldn't. Maybe this is a flaw, but we definitely like. We'll see a movie because we like a certain actor. Gordon bringing Batman along just to do the investigation. I thought it showed, out of all the movies I've seen, I mean, there's a little bit in The Dark Knight with the bullet ballistic stuff, and of course some of the detective stuff that Morgan Freeman gives him. I think we saw Batman like the problem solver here more than I've ever seen him in a movie.
Well, the movie is definitely predominantly about that.
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to be the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, so we have like this...
Not the world's greatest ninja.
Yeah.
Not the world's greatest cosplayer.
Yeah.
He's the world's greatest detective.
Yeah, no, you're right.
So he's... Andy Serkis, I mean, I always just like that guy, no matter what I see him in.
Yeah.
I liked him as Ulysses Claw
Yeah.
in the Marvel films.
Yeah.
I liked him as Gollum, of course. I liked him in
He's
The
iconic
Prestige.
in that. Yeah. He's in a Prestige.
Yeah, he is. As David Bowie's
Yeah.
attendant man.
His helper. His
whatever
Igor.
you call him.
Yeah.
His Igor, yeah.
Yeah, he plays a prominent character in Star Wars. I know you've seen 7, but he plays Snoke.
Okay.
Yeah. Just like the Nolan trilogy, they have little bits and pieces where they have a little bit of humor injected into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and because Batman's this dry guy, it's playing off of the fat thumb drive.
Well, it's cool that they bring it back though to the gang world with Falcone.
Yeah.
And everything, because it all ties back into that club, and it's very noir in that sense. So I think they did a very good job with presenting everything in that light and tying Catwoman into Falcone.
Yeah, how'd you feel about that being the dad and everything? I don't know anything about...
It's not, to my knowledge,
Yeah.
it's not her history.
Okay.
It might be. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I liked it either way.
I feel like I'm wrong, but
Did you see it coming?
No, but it's not. Also, wasn't a shocker.
Yeah.
I know she has associations with like breaking into the mob boss's place.
Yeah.
And everything in the Long Halloween. No, I liked Kravitz's performance.
Yeah.
And they did a decent enough job with the romance between them, because it's kind of, they're both like these S&M kinks wearing dark leather outfits and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're kind of doing the thing that Watchmen had to play on.
Yeah.
With Alan Moore pointing out that they're probably like fetishes.
Yeah.
With these people wearing these outfits and stuff. And
yeah. But I do agree. Their love story, for all that it is, it's just this romantic tension. With these two.
They're attracted to each other. But...
Yeah. I feel like Nolan did an okay job of making me care about Catwoman, but it was more about what she did for Bruce and the life that he could lead in the Nolan trilogy. In this, I care about Catwoman separately.
Yeah, they did a good job portraying her as a character.
Yeah, yeah.
And not just as a love interest.
Yes.
So...
And, I mean, it was a certain situation that was similar to The Dark Knight Rises in terms of she didn't choose this life. She got into it to help her friend. Mm-hmm. And then she obviously was born in a situation where she's obviously not like Bruce. But I don't think Bruce had an easy life by any means. You know what I mean?
They did do a really good job when the Riddler was saying Bruce Wayne and making you think that he knew. Yeah. But it turns out he didn't. Yeah. So that was really cool.
Well, and just like then you see the camera, it's like, this is going to be like fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We're going to fucking create a multiverse. We're going to have fucking Badu come in here.
They did a very good job at that scene of making you think that the Riddler knew. Yeah. That video online was probably him unveiling who Batman was. Yeah. But then it turns out it was other shit with his people that he was encouraging to commit acts of terrorism and violence.
I almost felt like this was a PG-13 horror movie too. Like, he was scary.
My oldest daughter asked me, like, "Do you think it'd be okay for me and my youngest daughter to see?" Like, no.
What's funny is I've heard like a few years ago that maybe the Chinese, some Secret Service government intelligence agency, they've had contact lenses, kind of like with cameras in them and stuff like that. And I've always thought that was cool. I remember hearing about that, and then I never heard anything else. And in this movie, they were using a contact-like device. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was something that I had never seen in a movie, really. I figured I would see it in Mission Impossible, but it's not a Mission Impossible.
Well, the way his camera system worked, his recordings, whatever, how you want to put it. The setup he had to look at his recordings from those lenses and print out the pictures really put me into the mind of Blade Runner. Yeah. the first one.
Yeah.
The first play when Harrison Ford's going through and looking, Deckard.
Yeah.
He's looking through these pictures and he's printing off pictures to find these.
Well, it was a noir.
He was trying to find these replicants, so it definitely put me in mind of that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, and maybe that was inspired. It had that noir feel. Mm-hmm. It was obvious, especially with the narration, like day one. You know? Yeah. It's Wednesday, you know?
That's how the original theatrical cut of Blade Runner was, with Deckard narrating.
Yeah, because Harrison Ford said he hated it. He had to come in after and do all that shit.
The producers made him do it.
Yeah.
And that's the first one I ever saw.
What do you think of that?
I thought it was okay. I still liked the movie.
Yeah.
But then when I saw the final cut,
yes,
this is the good one.
What's funny, but he had so much footage. He's like, I'm just going to sit here and make the best one.
Throws that piece of straw out there
with
the unicorn and the dream, and whether or not he's a human, but that definitely.
But isn't the longer version of that
definitely insinuates
the director's cut
with the unicorn?
Yeah, isn't it much more extended in the director's cut?
I don't remember now.
Okay, and like I said, I thought he was legitimately a scary villain. I mean, for one thing, the funeral, the color thing that like explodes, I thought that was scary, and just that scene was just sad. You saw like him come in, and he's obviously walks among all these people, but he's not one of them. Paul Dano touched on, or the Riddler touched on the fact that, like, and I don't know if our man would agree from Kill Bill Volume 2, but, like, Batman, the masked was him. Yeah. The masked version of him allowed him to be himself.
David Carradine.
Yeah. And
that's who he's become.
Yeah.
He wasn't born Batman, though.
No,
so maybe that's where
he draws the line.
Yeah. He was born Superman. Batman was born Bruce Wayne.
Put that rat maze on that guy's head. That was pretty horrifying as well. Mm-hmm. And just it kind of reminded me of the shorts that the Joker did when they put his stuff on the news.
Well, that's where I felt that I didn't feel was very creatively new.
Yeah.
I do think it's probably something that somebody like that would do now.
Well, I feel like because of the social media stuff, it made sense to me.
It does, which is why I forgive it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't creatively, it wasn't new. It wasn't ingenuitive. It was just doing the same thing that Heath Ledger did.
Yeah.
Like the shaky camera. And
well, he directed those too, himself. Yeah. He no one let him direct those little shorts.
I get why he did it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't anything new, so it wasn't that intimidating to me. It was just kind of...
Yeah.
Okay, well,
But I did think that, to me, was, like, more horrifying.
The rat thing?
Yeah, the rat thing and... definitely the rat thing.
I think what he was doing to people seemed horrifying. It definitely reminded me of Seven.
Where and Zodiac Killer.
These horrible things.
Or Zodiac. Have you seen that?
I've seen Zodiac.
Yeah.
Seven's the one where he made the fat guy eat until he blew up.
Yeah.
Made that guy screw that woman with a blade on the end of this thing on his cock.
Yep. David Fincher. Did you see Ben Affleck and that his wife faked her murder and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
He made that movie, too. He's done some good ones. And Alien 2, which he hates. It's like his first movie. They made him do it, and he didn't have any control over it.
You mean Alien 3?
Alien 3, yeah.
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 Alien 2 was good. Aliens.
I heard that was good.
It's not as good as the first one, but it's a different movie.
I heard it's like Terminator and Terminator 2.
It's definitely good. Well, no, because...
It's like an action movie. As opposed to
Terminator, I can't really watch that much.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a darker film, and it's definitely a classic.
Yeah.
But I can watch Terminator 2 a lot.
2 is amazing.
But, so it's not that kind of a difference between the two.
Okay.
It's just...
Well, it's funny because James Cameron came in there and did the second one for both of them, and he turned them into action movies.
Yeah.
You talked about Colin Farrell being...
Cobblepot.
Yeah, being really entertaining. Yeah, I really liked his character.
Well, he said the funny things. He was kind of a comedic relief.
Yeah. Take it easy, sweetheart.
And he's like, you good sons of bitches!
Yeah. And his little penguin walk.
Yeah, he's waddling around.
I got you!
Yeah.
And
I got you!
The car chase was great, too. And just...
It was very intense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very long.
Yeah.
But it was intense.
Yeah.
But his car, though, was sweet.
Oh, yeah.
When it showed him first firing it up.
It might be the coolest Batmobile.
In the alley.
Yeah.
It had the big turbine engine on the back.
Looked like something we'd see on...
It looks like something Bob Lazar would build.
He did build something like that.
That's what I thought of when I first saw it. I'm thinking Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar's a great man.
Because someone had to have seen Bob Lazar in his movie on Netflix.
Yeah.
We got to put a jet engine in the back of this car.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of interesting things. For instance, like how he's not impervious, but he's just prepared.
Yeah.
The penguin shot out of the window on the Batmobile. It wasn't just completely bulletproof.
Yeah.
It was to an extent.
Yeah.
Reinforced.
Resistant.
It was reinforced.
Yeah.
It was resistant, but it still eventually blasted through.
Yeah.
And instances where he's fighting these guys in the club, or
I really liked
at
how
the
he
end
took
when
some
the guy
hits.
blast him with the double barrel.
I'm so glad that happened, and not just because like it showed him being impervious, but like it led to like one of the coolest story moments for me.
Well, when he took a shot of adrenaline
Yeah,
and came
that was
flying up
fucking
there
badass.
and beat that guy down, that was something.
That was great. And then, I mean, he had the message in the end was like, it can't just be about vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be more. So I think this is the Batman year one, well, technically year two, and now he's going to be, I don't think he's going to be sending Christmas cards to people. But I think he's, going to be more refined in a good way. I love the Penguin, and he's having his own spin-off series on HBO, and Gordon is having his own spin-off series on HBO. Yeah. Jeffrey Wright and
the Cobblepot show just seems like it would be. They have to incorporate other low-level Batman villains or something to make that entertaining.
Yeah, and I don't even know if Batman's going to be in it.
I mean, surely he'd be in there at times, or just knowing about him.
Yeah.
Or hearing about him or something, or maybe Gordon would be, since Wright's going to have his own show.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll intersect.
That's what I hear.
But
yeah.
I can see it working because it's Colin Farrell.
Yeah, I see it working because like I see what HBO's done with Peacemaker and what and I know Matt Reeves who did this is producing it and shit.
So it's just I just wonder they have to do something like Peacemaker where they bring in these low level like Suicide Squad did.
Yeah.
Bring in low level people that like Calendar Man and stuff like that. Like people that just have no real
the guy with the hand that just slapped you
presence. Like it's just they have to just bring in people like that for comedic value and I just can't see it being a gangster show. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if it is, that's fine, especially if it's well done. But if it's a Batman show,
then it's got to
I'd like to see some Batman elements. But if it's good, then whatever.
There was a big thing with the orphanage and like growing up as an orphan and how the Riddler viewed the way he grew up is much worse than the way Bruce grew up. And I imagine Bruce. I think seeing your parents murdered is different than never knowing your parents. But you also grow in poverty, and I know this is terrible, but there's something to say about someone who's used to that shit. Mm-hmm. Like I've been in other countries, like Fiji, stuff like that, where people would be glad to live in an orphanage with rats. We don't want to take the human element and the personal experience. Some people, they don't handle shit as well as other people. Mm-hmm. Paul Dano is one of those people. Or the Riddler, I should say. But the fact that Thomas Wayne, the guy who in most versions of the Batman that I've seen has been a shining light for Bruce to look up to.
That's cool that they brought that into question. Because they have you doubting. They just from the storytelling point of view, not the story itself.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, well, maybe they're going to try to do this.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to make him like, well, it's not squeaky clean. So what does that mean for Batman's legacy, and what will he be willing to do after that?
Yeah.
Well, turns out he didn't intend.
He had a moment of weakness, but he's a good guy.
Yeah, he went to someone else in a moment of weakness. He didn't intend to have that guy killed.
Yeah.
He didn't intend to have that guy killed.
No, he didn't.
And it turns out also that journalist was probably not a great person either.
Yeah. Probably.
Like, why would you want to expose the mental health history?
Well, because they might be hired by the campaign opponents.
Oh,
yeah, like, we need dirt on these people.
Which,
I've never seen an iteration where Martha's been crazy, but I think that's sad. And I think it, which is weird. I was thinking in my head right when it happened is I bet Batman has a little bit of that crazy in him.
Well, I thought the same thing because it can be genetic.
Yeah.
So if you're predisposed.
Yeah. John Turturro, I love him. Everything. My favorite thing is actually Mr. Deeds that he's in.
No, I liked him in Brother Where Art Thou?
Yeah, he's great in that too.
Yeah, as Pete.
Yeah, but he was great as no, he wasn't. No, Maroney was in the past. That's
also in Barton Fink, which is another Coen Brothers film.
Haven't seen it. What do you think of this version of Alfred?
I thought it was okay. I like it better than Jeremy Irons' version.
Yeah.
I didn't like it as much as Michael Caine's version, but
I
like both versions better than the original Alfred, even though...
What about when he got sick and they needed to find a cure or he was going to die? What about that version, Zach?
Nah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I didn't really care for him that too much either.
He was in Sleepy Hollow, though.
That guy was?
That actor.
Really?
I'm a sucker for Andy Serkis anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just drawn into it because of who he is. I like that it shows him running the business, so to speak.
Yeah.
He's signing papers.
Kind of like how Morgan Freeman did in Dark Knight.
Yeah, so it shows him fulfilling that role.
Yeah.
Whereas Bruce is completely absorbed in his role as Batman.
Yeah.
He's not running around pretending to be a playboy, which maybe in the future if this franchise gets a
Yeah.
sequel, has it been given a sequel? Do we know?
I know it's doing well when he has an idea for a sequel.
Okay. Well, if they do a sequel, I could see him being a little more outgoing.
Like he realized that he needs a cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like right now he's an introvert.
Yeah.
And I can see him becoming more of an extrovert.
Okay.
Like
That's
just
cool.
in
And
terms
that would
of
be a
the
good
role.
development too.
Like his hair's always hanging down. He'll have it slicked back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I feel like this whole movie though is one big long 9 Inch Nails music video.
I mean,
Like you could literally take this movie and just put 9 Inch Nails tracks all over it and
Yeah.
get through the whole film on 9 Inch Nails music.
I was
feel
like
Trent Reznor.
kind of like a gothic.
Trent Reznor could have just done the whole soundtrack on this movie. So,
The part when they're in the hospital, I actually, that kind of pulled at my heartstrings a little bit.
well, Trent Reznor and Alice in Chains.
Okay, I love Alice in Chains.
So do I. I
Yeah.
definitely love some Alice in Chains. I
Yeah.
don't get into 9
Alice
Inch Nails
Cooper?
as much.
Oh, okay.
Alice Cooper.
Well, I thought you were just.
School's Out Forever.
Well, I thought you were just.
Poison.
I was guessing where your mind might take you after talking about Alice in Chains. And sometimes I'm right, quite a bit, but I was wrong that time.
You're wrong.
I was, yeah.
Because me not drunk.
To me, the ultimate Alfred Bruce conversations is Dark Knight Rises in that hallway when they're talking about the events of the Dark Knight and someone's supposed death and that letter. That to
This
me,
is a spoilers reaction. You can just say all that.
no, you're right, but it wasn't for that movie.
Doesn't matter.
Well, I
You
think
come in here, my friend. It is a minefield. All right. No matter where you were stepping,
yeah.
you step on one, it's gonna blow up. Just
Um,
abandon all hope.
no, that to me, but this was close. I thought it was a good emotional thing, but that had the weight of 2 movies behind it.
Well, Michael Caine just was.
And then when you
very good.
see these old men cry, it gets to me.
Well, Michael Caine was kind of very heartwarming character.
Yeah, he was.
The way he presented himself, and it sounds like Andy Serkis's character is the guy that taught Bruce how to fight.
Yeah. I could
So
teach you how
he's
to
the one
fight.
that trained him
Yeah.
to at least in combat, what he is.
Yeah.
Now. So it shows that he didn't have to go very far from home.
Yeah.
Or at least it's not presenting it that way
Yeah.
to become what he is.
Yeah.
So
And there's a moment where Batman stops Selina from killing Falcon or Falcone.
Falcone.
Yeah, that you don't have to suffer.
like he suffered.
Yeah.
Or no, you don't have to suffer too.
Yeah.
Maybe
That
more.
I thought that was a good. That was a great fucking moment.
They did a very good job with what limited material they do for their romance.
Which is
Those
usually
two
them looking at each other.
yeah, just them looking at each other. So her saying, "Oh, baby," and like
Yeah.
just kind of like kinky stuff. And
Yeah.
just them working together and being attract a spark.
Yeah.
But they do a very good job with that relationship.
Yeah.
In spite of its limitations.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they get to know each other.
No.
I mean, they're on a very extreme situation.
But they see a version of the person that probably no one else sees as well.
Yeah.
Although she doesn't know his identity, he knows hers.
Yeah.
So,
she knows she's rich.
yeah, that helps. I thought this was one of the coolest scenes ever. But you and I have, just like the old serial killer movies where the guys are walking after people, that shit's cool. But when we sit there and break down the scenes, like, do you think when he goes around the corner, he's like sprinting there? And then when he comes into view, he starts walking
Just
again?
knows all the shortcuts.
Yeah.
Sits down and studies all the building programs. Like
Yeah.
Jason Voorhees is sitting down, looking at a map
Yeah.
of the building at the fire exits.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, well, just like that, the coffee shop scene, which I thought was great. I thought it was chilling. And in the very beginning, you see him in that coffee, like he's twirling around in it. And then afterwards, you see the question mark. Can you imagine he's making it, and then they finally come and say, oh, shit. He starts like trying to form the foam so it makes a question mark because he's not done yet. I was like, what's going through his fucking head when he's making this question mark foam? Who's going to fucking look at that foam? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know it's for...
all the cops could have just
Yeah. And they just pour it out. Yeah.
no one drinks it.
So it's... Yeah, I thought it was
For
cool,
us.
but it's just funny. Yeah.
It's just him putting it in there because he's obsessed with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not because he's putting it there because these cops are going to see this.
Yeah.
They're going to know.
I think a lot of people will compare the scene where he's talking to Riddler to where Christian Bale's Batman is talking to Joker. Now, to me,
definitely comparable.
Yeah,
You can't escape
the
those
comparison.
influences.
Yeah. To me, Heath Ledger's still number one.
Well, yeah, because the way his line and his explanation of who the Joker is.
Yeah.
And
Well, in
too many profound moments for that.
well,
character.
like the way he pushes Batman too was different. I think. I mean, they might not have been trying doing the same thing, but I think people are going to compare
Well,
this.
not because there's such a dynamic between the Joker and the Batman.
Yeah,
and one is supposed to be the opposite end of the other.
Yeah, and it is known. It is the greatest rivalry in comic books. You know what I mean? But that being said, I thought that scene was great. Between those two was one of my favorite scenes where they're talking to each other and he's saying, "You're crazy."
Yeah.
You know.
Where he finally he listens to everything he has to say.
And Riddler thinks that they're in this together.
Yeah.
And it just. But you know when they flooded the city and that fight up there, where he's fighting the guys and it was desperate and it was him getting his ass kicked, but his brutal hits was fucking great.
He actually did pretty well until that guy shot him with the double barrel.
Yeah, but I love how he's like, "I'm gonna get him," and then he wasn't quick enough.
Yeah. And
then he's like barely holding on. He can't breathe. He's passing out.
You think of that close a range from a 12 for
what is his suit
two
made
rounds of 12 gauge, probably double aught.
Yeah.
Just blasting his ass.
Yeah.
And knocking him down. I mean, it's from that close a range. That suit. I mean, just the percussion.
Yeah.
From that.
Like just
absorbing that blow would probably blow all the air out of his lungs.
Yeah.
And I can see it. He was having some trouble, obviously.
He was, and then like he did the adrenaline thing. That was one of the coolest fucking things. And then
I don't think it was double aught though, or at least if it was double aught, it had like bird shot or something in it because he had pellets all over the place.
Oh, okay. And
I'm not saying that some double aught loads aren't like that, but
okay. And then we see Jeffrey Wright and Catwoman's response to his response of the adrenaline, and that was a badass moment, man. And just when he goes to cuts the wire and allows himself to drop, which also makes me think of the Dark Knight when he saves the boy and allows himself to drop.
Yeah, but that was one of those moments where it was like, okay, he just did this, he got blasted, and he got up and he beat this guy down. It was such a great moment. Oh, then he jumped out here and he cut this thing and he fell down in the water. Oh, then he lit the torch and got these people out. Oh, and it was just moment after moment that were not well timed to me.
Yeah,
it felt like it just took away from. They were all happening in such fast succession.
Yeah,
that it's like, I'm gonna be the hero now. I'm gonna be this now.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do that now, and it didn't. I don't think it really blended very well to me.
Okay.
So
to me, when he went in the water, like I like that scene when like the color like of the frame, like just the red flare.
Well, no, it looked good.
And him like leading. I think it was also kind of like, to me, it's like he's always in the shadows, coming out of the shadows to beat fucking people down. Now he's like coming in with light.
The bird's eye view with him leading them out, it's supposed to be he's providing hope, a light in the darkness.
And I think before he wasn't like that. He was just vengeance.
Well, the mayoral candidate didn't want to take his hand, but the little boy did.
Yeah. Matt Reeves like carved out one of the best Batman movies. And I don't want to compare it to the other ones. I know people are going to. We've done it like 5 times. But I think it deserves to be talked about. It deserves
to be. You enter into a realm where superheroes and things where stuff's been made so many different times.
Yeah.
You're going to have that.
Anyways, guys, I mean, that's pretty much our thoughts. This movie deserves to be seen. It deserves to be talked about. If you guys haven't seen the Matt Reeves' movies, I think he did a remake of the Let the Right Foot In, which is like a Swedish vampire horror movie. And he also did
that one.
Yeah. And he also did the last 2 Apes movies, which were absolutely fucking great.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
No, guys, this is great. Riddler was great. The performance was great. The fucking music by Michael Giacchino was great. And it was brutal, beautiful, occasionally funny. And I'm looking forward to watching the spinoff series on HBO Max with this guy, I have to say. I mean, I can always use more Jeffrey Wright and Colin Farrell. So
yeah.
I hope we get to see a sequel, and it looks like there probably is going to be because a lot of people are seeing this. And they deserve... this movie deserves to be seen. So the one funny thing I'll say is... I remember in the very beginning when that Asian guy was getting mugged, I was thinking, this guy's going to kick the shit out of these guys. Watch. I was thinking that, and fucking Batman comes, and he's like, don't hurt me. I was like, no, get up, you Asian. That's what I was thinking.
He's portrayed like a normal guy.
Yeah.
One thing though, they took out like all the higher ups in Gotham at this point. Mm-hmm. I mean, the new mayor is still there.
Yeah.
But the DA being taken out, now Harvey Dent can make an appearance if they wanted to start doing that route. Yeah. And bringing him in.
And Penguin is probably going to fill Falcone's...
The gangster, the crime lord.
Yeah. And Gordon could be...
He could be commissioner now.
Yeah, he could be commissioner now. So
they definitely showed him taking more of a leadership role with the other cops.
That scene where they were trying to take off his mask and separate him, that was fucking great. Yeah. I had a lot of respect for him there. Yeah, and Batman was kind of overwhelmed.
The bombs. He said, we are in a whatever, we need to sweep this place, find the mayor, he's giving them orders. Mm-hmm. So it shows him taking a leadership role instead of just being the guy on the outs.
Being kind of like the political face of the... Yeah.
Well, being the commissioner.
Yeah, being a commissioner doesn't get involved on the groundwork.
Well, he still did. Anyway.
Well, but I'm saying, instead of...
I'm saying, though, before he seemed kind of like he was on the outs. He was the fringe cop.
Yeah.
He was the guy that worked with Batman, and he was getting his ass chewed by Pete, his buddy, and the other cops didn't like it. And then by the end of it, he's telling them what to do.
Yeah.
You know, responding with leadership. So
yeah, I agree. Anyways, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching the review. We're out of here. We'll close it.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. If you like what we do here, you like what we had to say about the movie, or even if you didn't like it, comment down below. Give us a like, subscribe. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter too if you're that, stoked for what you see here. So
you that stoked.